Hey, everybody. This is Talk Like a Lady, a podcast where we find out all about our favorite ladies. I'm Carly Morton.
And I'm Jessica Fontana.
And today we're talking to Lauren Boleen.
Welcome.
And hi.
Hey.
And I started following her on Instagram, and she's a dietitian, but a nice dietitian where she's not going to tell you a bunch of bullshit. And so now I'm really excited to talk about it.
Can we call you a non-dietitian?
Non-diet dietitian. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, anti-diet.
That is my language there.
Yes, we like it.
Me too.
A lot.
Yes.
Me too.
What are we drinking tonight, Lauren?
So we are having Whiskey Mules, which, Carly, what did you say you call them?
A Horsefeather.
Horsefeathers.
But what did you say they were called?
Oh, Cock and Bull.
Yeah.
Because I worked at a bar.
I like it.
Yeah, I worked at a bar where we served them with Cock and Bull ginger beer and Bullet bourbon.
Oh.
So that was the name for it.
Nice. Well,
Nice.
and that's the best ginger beer anyway, so I guess it's fine.
It really is.
It's
I
delicious.
actually went to more than one store to find it because we don't have it everywhere where I live. So
Oh my gosh.
Huh.
That sucks.
You're dedicated.
yeah, too
I almost
dedicated.
said you're a dedicated cock and buller, but that sounded real weird.
It's not that weird.
Who is your badass lady today?
Okay, my badass lady, of course, there was like so many I wanted to choose, but I decided to go with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Yes.
Like I mentioned, I'm super into politics, especially this year, but honestly, always have been growing up. My family's really into it. So, I chose her just because I've always kind of had an interest in leadership. And so it's just really cool to see someone younger going out there and just being herself and standing up for all the right things without any fear. And I just admire that so much.
Non-apologetic.
Yes.
Yes.
And she's so
good on
smart
Twitter.
about it, too. Oh,
She's
yeah.
so smart.
Yeah, she is. She's so smart, and it's cool seeing her, even when I watch some of like the committee hearings in the House,
Right.
the way she just so eloquent with her arguments and just shuts shit down
Yeah.
when it's
And
nonsense.
she's smart because she really pisses those fuckers off.
Oh,
Yeah.
makes them so mad.
Like,
Right.
it's just,
So I love that. And
same.
honestly, since she kind of came on the scene, it's been really inspiring for me. And then I see people like Jim Jordan from Ohio who are just idiots out there, like being representatives in the government. And I'm like, there's no reason I can't do it too. So yeah, she's just
Right.
super inspirational.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I agree so much.
I love her.
I know. I love her, too.
Whenever there's a new video, I'm just like, I'm like a kid watching cartoons.
I know. Just anytime she talks, and if she's talking shit on someone that said something stupid, I will just watch it 85 times.
But she does it in a way that
Same.
she does it better than I would ever do it.
Oh, yeah.
Because she does it in a way where it's like classy.
Yeah.
And
Like, I'd just be like, fuck you, asshole.
yeah. And
That's it, I'm mad.
Because see, I get so passionate and angry about it that like my brain turns off, and it's only till afterward that I'm like, oh, I could have said this and I should have said this, but she's just like on it.
I know.
Love her.
Yeah, it's honestly amazing. I'm like, if I could be like one person, absolutely, I'd love to be her.
Well, if you can't tell, we agree with your choice.
We like your choice.
I figured that'd be a good choice for this podcast.
Correct.
What's your organization?
The organization that I chose is one I've been really passionate about for a while. It's Races Texas. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but it's Refugee and Immigrant Center for Education and Legal Services.
I love you.
So They do. I mean, especially with the news that's come out recently, I really wanted to highlight them. There are pretty truly horrifying things happening at the border. And so this organization provides pro bono legal services, like representation for people who may have to go to ICE check-ins or court dates by themselves otherwise. And then also they provide like tons of social services for immigrants and refugees as well. So it's a really great organization that just defends the human rights of immigrants and refugees in this country.
That's a good choice.
It is. I wish it wasn't so needed.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't heard of it, but I will be happy to put it all over.
Do you happen to
our
know the
stuff.
website?
Yeah, it's racestexas.org. So RAICESTEXAS spelled out .org.
Awesome. Thank you. Excellent.
Okay, so earlier before we started recording, you said that you went to K-State, and we were just talking about going to school, and so just tell us a little bit about growing up, where you grew up. I'm assuming it's somewhere around here, but I'm probably wrong. Yes, I'm right. Yes.
I am originally from Kansas. I grew up born in Topeka. Then I lived in El Dorado, Kansas for a couple years, and then moved to Derby, Kansas for most of my childhood and high school and everything.
That's like super western Kansas, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a suburb of Wichita on the south side of Wichita.
I was thinking that was...
Yeah, I thought it was like...
I'm
Western
thinking of...
Kansas.
You know what? I'm thinking of Colby. I think
Colby.
Colby is like way west. Or I'm also wrong about that.
It's
don't know.
I just know it's on the way to Colorado. Colby
Not
is.
from Kansas City. Oh, Colby is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not Derby.
I was like, no, Derby is
no.
not.
No.
Yeah, Derby is... When you said west, I thought south. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. It's south.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's South Kansas, south of Wichita. And yeah, I guess pretty straightforward middle class growing up, and really lucky to have a super supportive family. So I really didn't want for much growing up. And
did you have siblings?
Yeah.
Or do you have siblings?
Yeah, I do have siblings. Yeah. So I have a brother who's 4 years younger than me, and his name's Hayden. He is currently getting his PhD in chemical engineering at the University of Wisconsin.
Wisconsin?
Super smart and cool. Yeah, he's in Madison now.
Isn't that one of the party schools of America?
Probably is.
They're all party schools if you try hard enough.
That's fair.
Yeah, he's definitely more dedicated to his studies, though, so he makes up for me.
You were like, I'm in college.
Yeah.
That's how I was.
And then I also have a sister who is 15 years younger than me.
Holy
Her name's
schmoly.
Ella.
Ooh.
She is in 7th grade right now.
Wowee.
And so they're all still in Derby, but
She baby.
yeah. Surprise, baby.
Surprise.
Yeah. But just like, the best surprise ever, of course. And so she was born, like I said, when I was 15. So going into high school, we had a baby in the family. And
Yikes.
Hayden had just got done with elementary school when Ella was born. So my poor parents.
I know. They're like,
but,
let's spread them out really far so it takes forever to take care of our children.
Yeah.
It's good
But
if you
like
don't
I
want an
said,
empty nest.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's been just, of course, the best thing ever to happen to us. So,
That's cute.
yeah. And then, honestly, I don't have anything too exciting from high school to talk about.
How big is Derby, Kansas? Like,
the city,
Like,
probably around 25,000. But it's like a suburb of Wichita,
Yeah.
close enough that the towns are
they're
Right.
all just
melding together.
right, just like Kansas City. Everyone's
Yeah,
like, "Oh, it's
exactly.
Overland Park." Like it's all the same thing.
And then the high school when I was going to high school there was the largest high school in Kansas
Oh,
at the time.
holy
Really?
shit!
Yeah.
That's weird.
I don't know if that's changed since then, but yeah, it was the largest one. And I think it was just because, like with the Kansas City schools, there's just more high schools
Right.
around. So I think that's why.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an interesting experience.
Did you like school?
Yeah, I definitely loved my time in high school. I mean, God, now that you're asking me about it, I'm like trying to think what high school was like. Feels like it was so long ago.
It was a while ago.
You know, I always like tried to get good grades and like involved in all the clubs. Like I said, you know, I thought leadership was really cool and I wanted to be a leader in everything because I thought that was the most important thing ever.
Hey,
I mean,
is.
it is.
And then I played tennis all through high school. That was really fun. I got to go to state.
Look
I
at
definitely
you.
like lost as soon as I got there, but it was a fun expence.
But you
I was like,
went.
You
but I
still
was like,
made it, though.
yeah. I was like, yeah, I went to state, so really good at tennis.
I'm a really
you don't
good
need to know how
tennis
far I went.
player.
You just stopped there. Yeah, I made it to state.
Made it
Yeah.
to state.
Change subject.
Me and my family always joke because it's like, if I would just have put a little more effort into like practicing or doing anything, I could have been really good at tennis. But just me as a person, I'm not very competitive, and I'm just kind of like, oh, I'll do this while I'm having fun, and if I'm not, I'm probably out.
Right. Like, it's fine as long as I'm having fun, but
That's
After
okay, though.
that.
I mean, if you had fun and
right. It's what you're supposed
Yeah.
to do.
clearly you
Yeah,
still
totally.
succeeded, so.
Right, yeah, because I mean, I did go to state, so.
I mean, I went to state. Just remember.
In case you guys forgot already.
You guys.
Right.
I
Oh,
went
we
to state.
didn't. So, what would you tell your teenage self if you could?
Oh my gosh. Well, considering what I do now, being like an anti-diet dietitian who promotes body respect and learning how to kind of like love yourself and just be who you are, be like live your truth, you know, as corny as that is, like I totally believe in that.
Yeah.
I wish I could go back and say like, hey, you don't need to compare yourself to your friends who are 5'2", since you're almost 6 foot tall. Maybe just kind of embrace it. And I don't know, I think I was kind of the classic, like, self-absorbed teen who was...
I mean, that's our brains to
who-
a certain degree,
Right.
though.
Yeah,
Right.
So.
right. I wish, you know, still, there are some things I'm just like, hey, you could have been like a little more chill. Oh, maybe this. I would have told myself to not be a judgmental Christian so much as I was growing up in high school. I was very on that train.
Yeah. That's a nice thing to say, like, to yourself, though. Like,
Yeah.
don't be so judgmental.
You know, I think it's one of those things where I just didn't have enough experiences to know what I was even
Absolutely.
Right.
believing
And
in.
when you're a teenager, you're still a kid. Like, you're, what is it, 25 is when your brain finally stops developing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But even adults, like I know so many adults that have
right.
seen the light, you know, where
Right.
you're like, oh, no, that's,
Oh, yeah.
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 I mean, even this year has been like a huge year of growth for me. So
Yeah.
I don't hold anything against myself for how I was in high school, but
Right.
I am grateful that have grown up and learned why that wasn't awesome,
Yeah.
you know?
That's really all we can do, though. I mean, unless you're me and you dwell on everything and overthink it all, but
Just overthink it.
I think
and
I'm
then
over
I've
the-
certainly
it.
got a touch of that.
One of the podcast
Yeah,
dogs is
there's
about to
sorry,
attack
the
me.
podcast dogs are all up in the business.
Oh, I love it.
Come on, get over here.
So, do you have any woman influencers? Like someone that influenced you when you were young
I
or
mean,
now? I mean, it doesn't have to be when you were young.
yeah.
Besides AOC.
Yes.
I would have to say, of course, my mom has been a huge influence on my life. Like I mentioned, they've always been so supportive of me. And growing up with her, it's cool because actually she's super interested in learning about what I do now with intuitive eating. And, we have had some conversations about what it's like and what growing up at home was like when we all kind of just talked about dieting normally. Like it was just a thing that everybody did together. And I think even despite that, like, well, it's cool still being supported by her and having her be open to learning about that. But it was cool in one of the conversations we've had recently, we talked about like how she and like both her and my dad, but definitely her helped influence me to have like a pretty healthy relationship with exercise, like in a way where we would just go out and do things that feel good. And she loves running, and that's something that I've kind of developed from her too, is just we both love running for the sake of
Sorry.
Zoo.
that's okay.
Look at these idiots. Jasper. Sorry.
So
Okay.
like with the exercise part, it wasn't the motivation for it wasn't necessarily losing weight. It was more like health and fun though, right? Is that what you're saying?
Right. Yeah. Like we just did a lot of stuff together that was just to, get out of the house and do something that feels good and be outside, which is something I also really love now. So, there's that. And then of course, on top of that, like I grew up with a mom who literally gave everything to her family. And so she, passed that on to me in a way of, it's so important to care for other people and care about other people. And I think that she's had such a huge influence on who I am now in that way as well.
Yeah. She sounds like a good human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom.
Yeah, she's pretty great.
We like to say
Hey, Mom.
we like to give shout outs to moms on this show.
Especially Jasper.
Jasper,
Jesus.
get out.
So what was dating like for you?
Oh, I was boy crazy, that's for sure. But I also dated the same guy for 4 years in high school. So that was an interesting combination of things to be in high school.
I like all these boys, but I'm gonna stick with this one.
Yeah. And it was great. Like
I will ask though, what was your worst first date? Do you have a worst first date?
God. Honestly, no.
So you've had good first dates.
I'm just kind of like I don't know, I date people for a long time or else I don't really date them, So I really haven't had too bad of an experience with that.
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess, well, yeah, pretty simple.
That's okay.
Yeah, so like I said, I had the one boyfriend for almost all of high school. We met on AOL Instant Messenger.
Nice.
In 8th grade. And so we used to literally, we would not talk at school if we saw each other, but then we would go home and message all night on AIM because that's my generation, I guess.
That's what you do.
I mean, what else are you gonna do?
I like specifically remember one time when we were in 8th grade and he was like, hey, maybe you could say hi to me in person tomorrow.
I'm not sure about that.
Oh, don't worry. I did. I went up to him during band because obviously we were in band together, which is super cool. And I played clarinet, by the way, not to brag or anything.
I played trumpet.
Did you go to state?
Cool. I mean, again, I don't mean to brag again, but yes.
Sweet.
Go to state and band.
Sweet.
You are such a success.
Oh, yeah, I know. Do you want to hear my ACT score too?
Only if it's really good.
Things that matter in 2020.
Right.
Yeah, but that story, I remember going up to him the day after that in band, and literally I walked up to him and I said hi, and then I turned around and walked away.
Oh my God.
So basically, that was you spitting game.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Be like,
Totally.
challenge accepted.
Listen,
And
Yeah.
I said
that
hi.
is so similar. Like I've never been a flirt. It's not my thing. Yeah, so that would have been me too.
Yeah. I think part of that was just the being an 8th grader.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Also, because
most definitely.
I'm sure I was plenty flirty in high school.
I was
Just,
not.
I'm flirting with everyone right now. You know, no.
She's giving me the flirty eyes.
It's true. I keep trying to touch her leg, and she's like, blanket.
Yeah, you guys. Let's see. After that, I dated another guy for like a year and a half, and we dated from high school into college. We both went to K-State, and unfortunately, I spent like my whole first year with him, or like first semester of my first year in college as a freshman, just hanging out with him. So didn't make a ton of friends that year, and then we broke up. Oh, he broke up with me on New Year's Eve
Aw.
at a party where all of my friends were.
Sweet.
Oh, super.
Super cool.
Yeah, he sounds awesome.
I thought you were gonna say he broke up with you on instant messenger.
He broke up with me on AIM.
I was like,
Or he just walked up to you and like, we're broken up. Oh gosh.
I mean, that is kind of...
So was it like a big dramatic fight, or was it just like...
No, it was just like a classic college guy decides he's bored, breaks up pretty quick.
You know,
Probably
for the best.
But, you know, of course, yes, definitely for the best.
Yeah.
Things got better after that,
Yeah.
you know. It's nice to be in college and not be attached to someone when you're, like, putting yourself into this whole new environment and experiencing new things. And, you know, one of my favorite things about college was just getting to know so many people that weren't the people I grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm a big fan of getting to know people. So
yeah.
it was good to kind of have that like final push out of my comfort zone. 'Cause that's what I feel like it was, you know, it was that final, like, okay, this was your last kind of attachment to who you were in high school. Let's see what happens now.
Yeah. I mean,
You were getting all grown up.
she's all
I
grown
know.
up now.
So where did you meet your current boyfriend?
We met in Manhattan. We were working at, I don't know how familiar you guys are with Manhattan at all.
I went to K-State.
Okay, cool. Do you know the Pathfinder that's in downtown?
Yeah.
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 So we worked at the Pathfinder together. And so we met there. And I honestly, it's so funny. I remember when I went in for an interview, I saw him as soon as I walked in, we locked eyes, and like, I will never forget that. I was like, oh no.
Be like, I'm going to
really
have to
hot.
flirt with this guy at work now.
Yeah.
He doesn't
yeah.
even know what's coming at him.
From what I hear, we were incredibly obnoxious too
Sweet.
for everyone else we worked with.
That makes it better, honestly.
Well, because we had basically started dating and weren't telling anyone we worked with. And
But
that was
everybody
like,
knew.
all of us were super close friends. Like, we all hung out all the time. And so we would like hang out with everyone and then be like, hey, you wanna hang out after this? Like, won't tell anyone. So that was, you know, so of course we were like being super flirty and obnoxious and not admitting that we were dating when everyone, of course, was like,
Guys, we
wow, you
know.
guys are hiding it so well.
we can see you right now. We can see you.
With our eyes.
It's so funny though, the way that like all that group of friends did find out was kind of just accidentally one by one. We didn't just ever finally tell people. So
Like, fine,
a
you're
few
right.
of those, yeah, a few of those stories are like, one guy found out because the three of us went to another friend's wedding together, and this friend grew up with Joey, is my boyfriend's name. This friend grew up with Joey, and so we were like at the reception, me and Joey, and then our friend that we worked with. And the friend that got married walks up and he's like, "So are you guys dating?" Because Joey's mom had told his mom, because
Oh man.
Joey's from Clay Center, Kansas, which is a super small town.
Yes. I used to play
Yeah,
sports
so
there
like,
too.
of course, yeah, everybody knew already.
Yeah.
And so one friend found out that way. One friend found out because Joey got blacked out drunk and called him and just told him. On
Oh
a whim,
yeah,
I guess.
guess what? I'm dating Lauren. Like, cool.
Pretty much exactly that. He called him at like 2:00 in the morning and was just like, and then when he woke up the next day, didn't remember it. So when he saw the friend was like, "So you and Lauren, huh?"
That's funny. He's like, "What did I do?"
Like, oh,
no, at that
Lord.
point it had to have been kind of a relief though, right? Once
Oh
everybody
my
knew.
God, yeah, of course. It was so much easier. Like, it was silly that we didn't tell people in the
Right.
first place, that just, college brains.
Right.
Drinking a lot of alcohol,
Drinking
not
alcohol,
making
dating someone
the
at
easiest
work.
decisions. Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, we might get in trouble. Like, yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
the people at the bar are going to get real mad.
Yeah, yeah. Our boss definitely did not care. So
Once we
just
told them.
nobody cared except us pretending like everybody cared, I guess.
That makes it better for me.
What?
But
That's amazing. What did you go to K-State for? What was your degree in?
so for diet, well, originally I had no idea what I wanted to do when I was 18, which is not shocking.
Right.
We shouldn't have to choose
So I just kind of
at 18.
yeah.
I don't even know what I want to do now.
I was like, well, I don't know what I'm into, so I guess I'll just start business, because that seems like pretty
Right.
generic. And I always had an interest in, and like thought it would be cool to own my own business. I was like, maybe this will click, and it definitely didn't. It's couldn't have majored in it, that's for sure. I ended up getting a minor in that just because I already had the classes. So between that and some classes I had to take for dietetics, I was just already going to basically fulfill the need for the minor. So I did get a minor, which has actually finally proven to be kind of helpful.
Yay!
That's a pro.
That is a pro.
But after
You're a businesswoman.
after business, I was like, I don't know what I want to do, maybe the medical field, so maybe I'll be a doctor. So I went into biochem, and that was a hard no pretty quick, because I was like, I don't want to take any of these upper level classes, turns out. And then I basically just kind of went through the list of majors at K-State and was trying to think of things that I was interested in. And so, like I mentioned, my family had always kind of talked about nutrition and dieting, and I had always enjoyed exercise. And then I found out about nutrition, and then went and talked to a counselor to see what the difference was between just like a nutrition major and a dietetics major, and thought it was a good fit. So that's how I kind of ended up there. It's a good way to help people and teach and work in the medical field. And
was that in, what's it called? Is it Justin Hall? Was that in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So was mine.
Yep, in Justin.
I had to think. That was a long time ago.
You
I
pulled
had to really
that one
think
out of like the recesses of your mind. You were like, nailed it.
I don't know how, because nothing else comes to mind. Our brains are melted right now because we're both working full time from home and teaching from home.
Oh my gosh.
So, yeah,
That's okay.
It hurts.
Yeah, but it's okay. We're gonna get through it.
No, it's great. It's fine. This is fine.
Yeah.
So
everything is fine.
fine.
Everything's so good.
Everything is so fucking good. Okay.
there's a dumpster fire in the
I
background.
know. Just like
Yeah.
So I am super duper interested in intuitive eating, and I'm assuming like in college that's not the route you went at first, right? Because that wasn't, I don't remember hearing about like that and probably within the last couple of years is when I really started hearing about it. But so when did you kind of move from like the
diet stuff to non-diet things?
Oh, we can say anti-diet.
Can we say anti-diet?
Oh yeah.
It's not.
I am very anti-diet.
Yeah,
sweet.
With my whole being,
Yes.
I'm
good.
anti-diet.
Anti-diet then.
So you're not gonna offend me.
No, I don't remember how I came across it, but I came across, and I'm bad, I don't remember her name, but I came across a book. Somebody recommended, I don't remember, but it's like intuitive eating. And I was reading it and it like blew my mind. And it makes so much sense.
Yes.
Like, it's so interesting.
I haven't read it, but
and I got the workbook. I still have to work on it.
yeah,
It's
That's cool.
I was following on Instagram. I mean, as much as you can get out of Instagram, but the I Weigh account, and is her name Jamila?
Jamil,
Yep.
yeah.
She's pretty vocal about it, and it's interesting all the stuff that she posts.
It works with psychology. Like that's what kind of blew my mind is, all these years when, I mean, I can lose weight. I haven't you exercise and then you not starve yourself, but you really
kind of you starve yourself. Yeah.
Kind
But
of.
yeah, most of the time.
Yeah. And then we all judge ourselves when we try to go back to normal and then we gain all of that back. And it's because that's not, it's not
the way it works.
It's not how your body works. It's not how your mind works. So I'm
literally everything inside your body is geared against dieting. Like it just is.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because, like I said, and something that I've reflected on a lot since becoming more into intuitive eating is I wonder if I became a dietitian just because I thought it would help me lose weight. Like when I'm honest about that, because it was like so attractive to me because I was like, well, if I become a dietitian and I have to teach other people how to lose weight, since that's what we equate with healthy automatically, then if I do it, I'll finally be able to get off whatever, back to my high school weight, which was of course what I thought was realistic for me, even as a, 22-year-old adult in college. But it's interesting because, so I do wonder if that had some influence on why I became a dietitian. But then going into my nutrition education, it was really interesting. I love the science of it. I think there's a lot of value in the research that's been done there. Of course, nutrition is an important part of staying alive.
Yes.
But I remember being in classes where we're getting told, okay, well, just basically prescribe this 500 calorie deficit and tell someone to lose weight until they're within a normal BMI range. And that's healthy.
Can we just throw the BMI away?
BMI makes me have anger.
Burn it.
We can throw it into the dumpster fire that is the world.
Well, that's what I think. Yeah. That's what I think. So I'm turning 40 this year. I'm an old woman. And after all, I don't...
My face.
Other than after intuitive eating, when I started learning more and doing and trying to work on that side of it, I don't remember a time in my life that I wasn't trying to diet in some way. And it didn't matter how skinny I got. And I got skinny. It never was enough. And I feel like after learning this stuff, it was like, well, fuck that. Why am I doing that to myself? I was just done at that point.
When doctors have a scale and okay, well, you're 5'8", so you're supposed to weigh 140 pounds. And I'm like,
I think it goes down to 132 or something.
Yeah, and I'm like,
no.
I honestly look like I'm dying.
For the healthy range.
Right.
If I was 132 pounds,
the goal weight.
I wouldn't be healthy.
Right.
But I just,
Yeah, and you guys, this might blow you away.
Tell me.
But the BMI was created based on research done on white men.
I know.
So
No, I know.
yeah,
I know.
I know. Crazy.
No, that's not real. Nothing's based on white men. They don't get
No.
anything.
They have it hard in life. It's
rough.
So yeah, we just get it's interesting with what I know now, looking back on my education and being like, why was I taught this?
Right.
When in reality, and during that entire time, all that a lot of my education did was make me feel worse about myself, because I was like, well, I can't do this. Like, it's not working for me. And then you end up kind of like you just described in that cycle of either I need to be dieting, I am dieting, or I'm saying fuck it. And I'm
then
just doing
hating
whatever
yourself.
I want,
Right.
and not even,
Yeah.
And I'm like mad at myself for it, but I can't stick to the diet. So what's the point? Like, then I first learned about intuitive eating so to become a dietitian, you have to have a supervised internship, which is normally about a year. Mine was 8 months. I got into the program at OU Med Center in Oklahoma City. And so that was a really great, awesome experience, awesome program. And actually through that, I was able to go to the Food and Nutrition Conference and Expo, which is like the national conference for dietitians. And that's where I learned about intuitive eating. And once I learned about it, like you said, that like click,
it blows
just happened,
your mind.
where I was like, wait, really?
Wait a second.
I can pursue healthy behaviors without trying to lose weight.
Yes.
That is crazy.
And listening to your body. What?
Mm-hmm.
That's what's...
No.
What I need now, though, is I need something to read on how to not fuck my children up.
Oh, yeah. There's probably...
What book do you have?
I think it's just called Intuitive Eating. I'd have to...
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't go a ton into the kids side of things. But, I mean, what I say a lot to them is... Because, we were all, well, I don't know about you, but, you're taught, finish what's on your plate, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's not listening to your body. So I tell my boys a lot, well, they'll be like, I don't want any more. I'm like, that's fine. Just listen to your belly. Like, I just try to say things like that. And not say things like, you don't need that. Like, like, I feel like that's so shamey and ugh.
Listen,
So-
we get taught.
Yeah.
We get taught from such a young age not to trust our bodies in a lot of different ways, but like, especially with food, and a lot of that has to do, I feel like, with what our parents were taught was the best thing for us. And, that's just never any harm intended, but it does teach us to not listen to our bodies. And I think, like you said, just trying to support your children to listen to their bodies, and also modeling that in your own relationship with food and body is so important, because it's one of the cool things that I've gotten to talk about with my mom. Like I mentioned, she's been really interested in this as someone herself who has dieted her whole life. Like, it's been really cool to be able to talk about these things, you know, because it's like a 180 from everything we grew up being taught was healthy.
Right.
Yeah, I think...
Or what we're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I think anybody that has been a dieter could... I mean, there were even, what's it called? Like the Last Supper or something like that. Like everybody that diets...
Last Supper eating.
Yeah, everybody, you're like, okay, you're going to start on Monday, so you just like have everything you want over the weekend, or think like, I didn't realize that was such a universal thing.
Yeah.
Because I read that, and it was like, okay, so I'm not a weirdo. Like, so many people do these behaviors.
Why wouldn't you?
Well, that's the thing. I just, I think everybody lives in this world where they think that they're different in some way.
Yeah.
Like they're odd, or they're weird, or, you know what I mean? So it was just, that was part of the eye-opening to me. It's so interesting.
Well, people don't talk about when diets don't work for them. They only talk about when it does.
Yes.
They don't want to talk about the part that happens to everybody, where you end up, kind of, just saying, well, if I'm going to start my diet on Monday, and honestly, like so I went to FNC, that conference in 2016. Honestly, it's taken me at least until this year to really accept it and like really try and dive into intuitive eating and start doing those things for myself, despite having been learning about it for 4 years. It's scary to commit to giving up diets because it seems like, you know, I have a lot of people say, well, I just can't control myself around food, or I feel like I'm addicted to food. And I was just having a conversation earlier today where someone said that they like have food addiction. And I was like, that's like saying you're addicted to breathing, isn't it? Because
Yeah, I do really
we
like
have to
breathing,
eat.
though.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess I am addicted to breathing if we're going to put it that way. But, you know, we get taught to not meet one of our most basic needs. And, you know, you mentioned the psychology behind it. It's like, are you guys familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs? And food, like meeting your food needs, is literally the bottom of that hierarchy. And unless you are really trying to meet those basic needs, you can't succeed in the way that you could. You know what I mean? Like, we can get by, we can do things, but can you do it like with your full passion, or can you do it with your full clarity of mind without meeting your basic need for energy? No.
Nope. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, like you were saying, we're taught a certain thing, and it's really frustrating that now that I've learned more, I'm like, why isn't this taught? But it's the same thing, I think, with, what was that?
That was Jasper again.
Jesus.
He just wants to be heard.
He just wants in here so he can beat up his big brother.
But it's kind of the same thing that, I mean, it's been years. That was kind of eye-opening for me, is realizing that all the diet food is really working against your body / your diet and your health. I mean, it's the stuff, all that processed stuff. I mean, yes, processed, but I mean, like, what they advertise as diet stuff is just not always great for you.
No.
So,
No.
Well, and I always tell people, you know, I genuinely believe any food fits that you actually like. So if there is like a diet food that you genuinely enjoy, have it, you know, but don't grab a bag of vegetable potato chips and think that they're any healthier than a regular potato chip,
Right.
because potatoes are vegetables. You know, like
How dare
they're
you.
actually not that different. It's still chips. It's okay to enjoy them, but in intuitive eating, like, one of the things you work on is neutralizing all foods and stop stop calling some foods good, stop calling some foods bad. They're all food. They all bring you energy. Plenty of foods have like a combo of carbs, protein, and fat. Pizza does. I eat pizza all the time.
it's the
Like,
best.
It's
probably
so
at least
good.
once a week, you know, like, it's just food to me. So, yeah, it's really eye-opening once you get there. And I don't know, I'm curious, have you read about unconditional permission to eat? What do you think of that?
I mean, it's hard. It's work. It's work because you have to fight against everything that your brain has been telling you for,
Right. Like,
know,
everything you've learned
30
your whole
years.
entire life.
Yeah. And all the things that, because even, you know, even when people don't mean to send messages, messages are received. And so I think just fighting against that stuff for a long time. But also, I think what really helped me is I really was at a point in my life where I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel this way when I'm 40. I don't want to. No. It hasn't worked. Something has to change. And it's not my dieting, because, again, I've been very, very skinny, and it still wasn't enough. So it's clearly something else, you know?
Right.
So, I think.
Absolutely.
And then I try to tell everybody, and not very many people listen to me.
Shut up, Jessica. How dare you not diet?
Honestly, that's how people
Yes.
are, you
Yeah.
know?
It's hard to get out
And I
of
think
it.
some of it, I think some of it comes from, like you said, what we've been taught to believe forever, and also, a little bit of people being like, if I have to suffer and diet, then you should have to, like
That's right.
I mean, we all kind of feel that way to a
yeah.
certain degree, right?
Yes, I just want everyone to
Yeah,
suffer with me.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Feel like
It's such
trash.
Yeah.
seriously, anybody who's listening, you need to look into this because it's genuinely so interesting, and it's mind-blowing, and it makes sense, and it's not a diet.
Yeah. Yeah, it is not a diet. That is honestly a really important point to mention, is there are people out there who will try and sell intuitive eating as a diet, as like a just listen to, because another part of intuitive eating is learning how to listen to your internal hunger and fullness cues and honor your hunger by actually eating when you're hungry and trying to pay attention and stopping when you're full, which is a good concept, I think. But then when people take it and try to turn that into, if you eat past fullness, you've fucked up.
Right.
That's
That's
wrong.
not the point at all.
Like,
And because it's also about not
right.
feeling guilt, because sometimes you
Right.
just want a donut. Like,
Yeah, or 4
Yes.
donuts. And if you want 4 donuts, have
yes,
them.
that's
where that like unconditional permission to eat, since I mentioned it, just in case anyone who's listening doesn't know what that is, it literally means giving yourself full permission for all foods at all times, however much of it you want. It sounds super scary, but it is like such a key part of intuitive eating, because until you can get to that point, which it also kind of helps you finally neutralize foods too, to see that even your off limits forbidden foods that you won't buy yourself are just food, like game changer.
Yeah. Because it's also about when you deprive yourself, it's all you want. And when you stop depriving yourself of those things, you're not, I mean, not saying you'll never, but it's not like that forbidden thing. It's not, you know?
It's like a kid. If you tell a kid they can't play with something, what do they want to do?
Exactly. Yeah.
They want to play with only that thing,
Right.
no matter what.
And we've all talked about that in a way, like when we've been dieting, it's like, oh God, all I want is pasta. All I want is bread.
Right.
But to take it a step further, like, oh, well, if you let yourself have that, boo, like it
There
shouldn't
goes
be
your
a
craving.
guilt
Move
thing.
on.
Like
Right.
it's just you're allowing yourself to have that, and it's that. But it is hard. It's hard to like get past that and not feel guilt.
But you send out,
Yeah,
you have
truly.
a newsletter, or is it just an email that goes out and you just talk about all these things with everyone? Is that right?
Yeah.
That's good information.
So how do we get on that?
So, my Instagram is a good place to start.
All right.
There, and that's at Dietitian Lauren on Instagram. And then if you go to so there's a link in my bio on my Instagram for a free training, and that'll kind of talk about, why as a dietitian I don't recommend dieting, because it doesn't work.
Right.
Long story short.
Right.
And then like a cool kind of mindset activity, because ultimately, like, with intuitive eating, the goal is for people who want to feel healthy, feel good in their bodies, but don't want to attach it to weight. So there's a little mindset activity in there to just help you kind of reflect and decide, okay, what would a healthy lifestyle look for me, separate from weight loss, separate from dieting, in a way that's sustainable and feels good to me. So that's part of that free training. So there's a link there in my bio. And then my website is nutritionwithlauren.com.
Okay.
And there's a link up in the upper right corner on my website as well for that free training. And when you take that, you can sign up for my email list there.
Sweet.
I'm so excited. Like, obviously, I'm
Yeah, and I
passionate
share
about it.
tons
I'm having
of
to
good
shut
stuff.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm honestly, I'm just like, starting my business this year has been weird. I didn't mention it, but I was a clinical dietitian for 2 years before this, just because I always kind of followed the path of like, do this and then follow the next step and get a clinical job, because that's what dietitians do. And I was furloughed because of COVID and kind of hanging out at home. Luckily, I was getting unemployment. And so I was like, if there's ever been an opportunity for me to start a business, especially in online business.
Right.
Like now's the time.
On
So
it.
That's awesome, though.
yeah,
Yeah.
kind of dove into
There's that business.
There it is.
Yeah, yeah, right. It paid
Good
off.
job.
But it's been much more fulfilling to work with people this way instead of clinically, because when you work with people inpatient, like nutrition is just such a long-term thing. And so when you work inpatient and patients are only there for 2 or 3 days, you don't really get to develop relationships. And like I said, that's a really important thing to me, being able to work with people for longer and be able to see them have these results, and for those results to be not from dieting or weight loss, which doesn't feel right to me personally. So I don't know how I'm supposed to sell it like to other people, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a really cool experience.
Awesome.
Yeah, it sounds exciting. Like it's been, I mean, it's hard to say 2020 is exciting for anyone, but exciting for
Yeah.
you. You've gotten to
We'll say
start
there's
your
been
business.
an upside for Lauren
Right.
of 2020.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what would you say you hate about being a woman, and what do you love about being a woman?
Well, women rule. So
Yes.
I mean,
Correct.
I love that. What do I love about being a woman? I don't know. I think that I love that. I wish this was different, of course, but I love that women are allowed to like feel their emotions and express their emotions and have deep relationships with friends. Like, I think that's something I've taken advantage of, certainly as a woman. I love being a woman now in a time where we're seeing a lot more women, especially young women in leadership positions. Like, that really motivates me in my life now and for the future. What I hate about being a woman, I mean, I guess I'll just like the classic things of having people explain things to you that you're actually the expert in is fun.
God. Yeah, that sucks.
I don't know, I guess maybe being a woman, like, especially like I said, in my clinical position, I didn't feel as confident to like speak up, especially when I felt like doctors were saying something that I was like, in my heart, I know that that's not true. So, I mean, also that partly comes from my like anti-diet beliefs, I think. And then being a dietitian, being told to go reinforce these things that I know won't work
Yeah.
in a hospital, and being told I'm wrong for disagreeing with a doctor.
Yeah.
I definitely worked with some people who were like disrespectful because I was a woman, because I worked with a male dietitian who was great. I mean, he was amazing as a coworker and a boss and everything, but sometimes I would have to be like, hey, can you go tell this
Ew.
to the doctor, because they're probably not going to listen to me when I say it.
See, that's
So like, don't love that. Yeah.
It's not great.
Yeah. That would make me mad.
I think doctors are often brilliant, but I do think they lack training in nutrition, and especially this kind of nutrition.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
stick to what you're good at and leave the nutrition to someone that went to school just for nutrition.
Well, but I mean, I
Like-
think they're taught things like the BMI and things like that, and that isn't always an indicator of health, and
Right.
it's so yeah.
Yeah, my doctor was real mean to me last week.
Yeah, fuck that person.
She was being a little bitch.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
wrong. Honestly,
She was just like,
there's nothing
you
more.
know, you gained weight, so you're fat and you should work out and count your calories. And I was like,
I
okay.
hate that. Honestly, nothing pisses me off more than when people tell me they've been told to just lose weight.
Right.
I have had that experience for myself too, where I've had something going on and I've just been told, well, lose weight.
Right.
Good luck.
I went to the
So there's,
doctor
like-
because I had headaches. And she was just like, well, you're fat. And if you can just lose weight. And I was like, my head hurts.
I think when Carly told me that, I said, I think direct quote was, "Well, fuck that doctor."
Well, fuck that doctor.
And I followed that up
seriously.
with, I feel like that is the lazy way, the lazy thing to do. Like, if there's something wrong, they're just like, well, you need to lose weight.
She also said, it's easy to lose weight. And I was like, bitch. Is it?
There's this whole other component to it, and I am not an expert in this area, but I do want to drop it in here. Health at every size. I don't know if you guys know much about that, but a really quick note on that is that all people deserve the same treatment in healthcare, the same diagnostic treatment, no matter their size. And so that shit is so infuriating to me, because I know, like, so many people who've had this experience where they go to the doctor for something and they're just told to lose weight to solve the problem, and then they lose the weight and nothing changes because they deserved other diagnostic,
I mean,
treatment.
That's the thing. Like, yes, losing weight can help.
Right.
With some things. I'm not saying.
I mean, she's not wrong. I have gained weight.
But it's not,
But that's
like,
not why I have a headache.
Exactly. And it's also like just telling somebody that and saying, especially saying it's easy.
It's easy.
Man.
Ew. No.
She was like, you can't just eat. What did she say? I can't just eat.
Oh, this is going to make me angrier. You didn't tell me this part.
Oh, yeah. She's like, well, I want to just have lattes and donuts for breakfast, but I don't. And I was like...
Well, I feel sad for her.
I know.
I was like, okay,
maybe
bitch.
you should. You'd be happier.
Right. But also, she's like... Since the last time I had seen her, she was like almost 8 months pregnant, and I wanted to be like... Bitch, you've gained weight too. But I didn't, because I restrained myself somehow.
Yeah. Well, and I do want to say, each person is allowed to have their own goals and allowed to be at a place where they feel comfortable in their body. And if weight loss is involved in that, that's fine. But a lot of the research that our medical knowledge is based off of is founded in things that are fat phobic and that are racist.
Yes.
So there's some big issues with even a lot of things where we're just told common knowledge, if you lose weight, it'll help. Well,
will it?
I don't know. I just think there's a lot to question there.
Right.
And each person is different. Different things work for each person, of course. But I think that there's just so much to question there.
So
it's been weird.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's been, especially this year, it's been weird because I feel like I'm just poking holes in everything I've always believed and being like, what's really there? Why do I really believe that?
I can't, and we've talked about this multiple times on this podcast. Sorry, people that have listened before. I mean, that's
not that sorry.
That's the way we grow, though. We've talked about, our minds have been blown so much over the last 10, 15 years of just things that we've learned, things that you start to see. And once you learn, when I started picking up on things that were super sexist, I can't stop.
Right.
So I'll hear something and I'm like,
oh my God, I know.
No, stop it.
You've entered the real matrix.
Yes. Or things that are racist, things that are, things that are just so common that you didn't realize were based on really horrible things.
Right.
And once you go there, it's impossible to turn.
It's
impossible. Which I'm glad. I don't want to go back, but I mean, that's ideally how we grow as humans. So
yeah.
So you are super positive for other people. Are you good at taking compliments?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I've worked on, but yeah.
Good for you.
I actually am now.
Okay, give yourself one.
It's, okay. So I listened to your podcast, so I came prepared.
Oh, cheater.
I mean, but thank you for listening to our
podcast,
though.
Yeah, it was great. No, I think one of the things that I really like about myself, and honestly, if you had asked me this question last year, I probably would have been like, no, I don't like it when people are nice to me, but I think I'm a really empathetic and caring person, and I love to be that person for the people in my life, and I find a lot of joy in that, and so I'm thankful for that, and I don't know. I feel like I have good energy. So that's
I'm
something
picking
I
up
like
on
about
that good
myself
energy.
too.
Yeah.
But
Those
also
are
we need
good
more empathy in this
compliments.
world.
Yes.
Those were good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
Like I said, I had time to prep you guys, so I cheated a little
us.
bit on my homework, huh?
It's that overachieving, successful person.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to do a wheel question?
Okay. Ooh, all right.
Wheel question. Oh, I love this question. Okay, so what's your favorite book, show, or podcast?
Okay, let's see. I loved My Favorite Murder. Of course, I still love it, but now I can't listen to it because I just can't take more darkness.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm hit or miss with it. It's like either I'm really into it for a little while or I gotta take a break.
And that makes sense.
Um,
I think I've taken a break during COVID. Like I haven't caught up on them, but once they make me go back to work and I'm like at work, I'll probably listen to it.
See, that's where I'm kind of strange
Yeah.
because that's my happy place. Like, I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many true crime podcast shows, movies,
Yes.
like all of it. Like, that is honestly
have
my
to
comfort
say-
zone. So,
Also, part of why I don't listen to My Favorite Murder as much is because I used to listen to it all the time when I would go on bike rides, and like I live out in the middle of nowhere,
So it's
I would be
scary.
like out in the country by myself listening to My Favorite Murder, and I think I scared myself out of it
Yeah.
a little bit. So
I mean, hey.
yeah, I'm taking a little break, but I'm like excited that I'll have like a backlog.
That's
of
what
episodes to
that's what I'm
listen to,
telling
too.
myself too. Like
Yeah,
I'll have it back because I binged all of them like
Same.
a couple of months and
That's exactly what I did.
I know. I think, I told you about it, right?
yeah, you told me about it. And then that's basically what gave us an idea to start this podcast.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, no, it really is like, I just love that, and I love the community that they've created from it too. I think it's so cool. And then my like favorite show is The Office. I'm one of those, but I want to say one of my favorite shows that I've watched that is not one I've been repeat watching is Pose.
Oh,
Have
I
You guys
haven't watched that
on
yet.
Netflix?
No, but it is on my list.
So
Is it?
good. Cannot recommend it enough. Yes. My
Is
boyfriend
it like
and I
feel good
binge
where it'll
watched
give you
it
the warm
like
and fuzzies?
it's very
Okay.
real. So there's some of that, but there's like, because it's about trans
Right.
culture in New York City in like the 80s with the AIDS crisis and everything. So there's definitely some very real, like heavy shit going on, but I think that there's also like a lot of beauty in it.
Oh, I want to watch.
You know, just telling like those stories. So cannot recommend that show enough.
That's
Okay, good to know.
yeah.
It is on my list.
Okay, can I round it out with a book
Absolutely.
recommendation?
Of course.
Okay. One of my favorite books that I read this year is called The Body Is Not an Apology by Sonia Renee Taylor.
I'm writing this down.
I know.
Everyone that's listening to this podcast should be reading it.
Writing it.
Also, I think everyone ever should read it, but
That's
But
exciting.
especially our listeners.
yes. Just an amazing book, like very interesting perspective on body positivity
Which
and like
this
how
world
to
needs
love and
more
respect yourself.
of.
Yeah.
What is the weirdest thing to happen to you? Do you have a weird story?
Just ever.
Ever? Yeah.
Ever.
Wow.
I know.
I feel like I gotta think on that one.
Gotcha.
We can.
This is makeup. This is makeup for me being prepared
Yes,
for the
it
compliment
does.
question.
Okay.
Um,
Do you want to go to a different question, or do you have something?
no, I want to do it. I just can't think of a good
No, I
answer.
want to. Pretend like this is state.
I went to state.
Let's see. The weirdest thing that has ever happened to me. Okay, I'm just gonna go with a recent one because it's the one I can think of right now. So I live in a mortuary. Above one.
Okay. Well, that can be it if you want it.
Can I call you Veda?
It's. I don't get that reference.
My
Are you
girl.
mad?
Just
No.
watch My Girl. Be prepared to cry.
And then cry.
Okay. Oh, I love crying, so that will be on my list. So, okay, I live above the mortuary. Favorite place I've ever lived. But I'm pretty sure there's a ghost living in my kitchen because one time I was in there. It's a friendly ghost.
Okay,
I'm not
good.
worried.
It's spooky.
I was in my kitchen one time with we have an iPad and I had it sitting next to me and I was talking. I was not talking. Nothing was playing on my phone. Nothing was playing on my TV. Like Joey was all the way back in our room back here. And I accidentally hit Siri with my thumb, but no noise is happening. And on the screen pops up, how do I get back
Shut
to
up.
Earth?
No.
Shit you not.
That gave me chills.
Me too.
I know. Me too. Every time I think about it. And I was just like, what? Excuse me?
When did Siri begin to start talking to ghosts?
Right.
Who knew? Maybe that was the last
I think
update.
it picked up on some noise I couldn't hear with my human ears.
From a ghost.
So I believe I have a friendly ghost living
Well,
in my
that's
kitchen.
fine then.
Jasper.
That's fine.
Yeah.
As long as it's not
That
a
is a good-
mean ghost.
Listen,
that's what I'm afraid of. I don't
That's
like
good
that.
timing. It's getting into Halloween.
Right.
Yeah,
That was a good. You
yeah.
picked a good weird one.
All right.
Thanks.
Last wheel question. What is your go-to karaoke song?
I have honestly never done karaoke.
I've never done karaoke in public.
We
Just
we
in my
both have
house.
karaoke in our homes.
Oh, see, that's the way to do it. Okay, if I had to choose one though, I think now, after this year, so my sister is obsessed with Hamilton because she's so much cooler than me.
Yes.
So good.
But anyways, so I finally watched it this year, and so I've been listening to it nonstop for the last 2 months. Nonstop.
So good. It's so good.
I think I would try and do Satisfied. I know all the words to it, and I love singing
I wish
it,
we could describe
but
her face right now.
I know.
She looks so happy.
She's like, I would do it. But just do it.
She does.
You guys, it's it brings me so much joy. I have so much fun singing that song. I don't know why.
I think the greatest thing about Hamilton for me is that every time I listen or watch it, I hear something different. There's a new lyric or new word that I hear that I'm like, ooh, it's so great.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's...
I would say the same, but I have been listening to it literally straight through for 2 months.
Nothing is new.
My boyfriend
everything.
was like, yeah, this is pretty cool the first time we watched it. And now he's like, God damn it, Lauren, I have Hamilton stuck in my head and I do not want to.
Can we please watch
funny 'cause
something
it's-
else?
Yeah.
My husband says...
It's the first time.
Sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just going to say it's the first time that since we've been dating that I've discovered a new musical to love because I was obsessed with Phantom of the Opera and High School Musical, of course, when I was in high school. So he's never experienced the Lauren discovers a new musical Lauren. And that was a true test for our relationship. But
You're good now?
We're going to make it, I think. Yeah.
My husband texts me and either says, God damn it, you got Harry Styles in my head. Or I think last week he said, I started singing WAP.
Oh, God.
It's well, listen, that's okay.
It's okay.
It's
You
fantastic.
can sing it.
Yeah.
If that's what you have to complain about,
Right.
it's not too
Correct.
bad, huh?
Correct.
So
I'm
sorry. You
sorry.
have to sing a song about pussy.
Sorry,
Yeah.
not sorry.
Right. Get over it.
I know. I'm like, sorry, Joey, for exposing you to this
I
excellent
know.
Right.
Like,
musical.
what are you gonna? Why? Why does it matter? Get to it.
Doesn't.
It doesn't. Okay, so we want to thank you for coming on and talking with us. And I want to share your Instagram again. It's Dietitian Lauren, and your website is nutritionwithlauren.com. Is that right? Okay.
And just in case, dietitian is spelled with a T and not a
Okay.
C.
We will make
That
sure.
is a very common misconception.
We'll make sure we
so.
get it right. And because we'll post it on all of our stuff so that people can just go to
Oh,
it
sure.
once we record. And we also want to talk about racestexas.org. It's RAICESTEXAS.org. Sorry, it's a podcast dog again. He's being an idiot. And also, ours, we have Twitter and Instagram. It's at TLAL podcast. And we have email at TLALPcast@gmail. Sorry, this dog is pushing on me really hard.
He just loves you.
All right, so here's to ladies.
Let's start listening to what they have to say.
Goodbye.
Bye.